Good afternoon and welcome to Wild Moments, powered by explore.org. Russell is not powered by explore.org. He is powered by whatever was in that flask he was drinking from, possibly some kind of coffee.
Coffee indeed. None of the fun stuff behind me, sadly. Just a coffee.
No. Bad luck. My name is James Hendry, in case you hadn't noticed, and that is Russell Gerber, coffee drinker extraordinaire, sitting in Cape Town. We are coming to you live from two different locations in South Africa, and we're going to be talking you through some of the amazing highlights from the Africam live cameras scattered about Southern Africa, events that have happened during the week. Please do talk to us for the duration of the show. You can do that on the various platforms on which this show is going out. They're far too numerous for my small brain to remember. And so if you're watching the show now, you will have some form of comment section there. Stick it in the comment section and we'll do our best to answer your questions. And, well, it's always fun to hear from you. Aussie Jan, you made it, but not without your coffee. You are like Russell. Rolling Trouble, hi Russell, and James from Washington. Yes, hello, Rolling Trouble. It's very nice that you're with us every week, I must say. It's always nice to chat to familiar people, like talking to old friends. We have a few different clips this week. I thought maybe, Russell, when was the last show you did? Did you do one on Tuesday? You did one on Tuesday.
Yeah, I did the Africam show on Tuesday, but no, it's been some time.
Would you have been away? You've been traveling, have you?
Yes, thankfully frolicking on safari, which has been lots of fun. I got back a couple of weeks ago, and yeah, I'm back for a while, and then off to the bush again in, I don't know, 3 weeks, I think.
I'm assuming that your wife has put you to quite a lot of child minding since your return.
Yes, that is currently my life. School holidays, of course, on South Africa. So yes, good fun.
And winter school holidays in Cape Town, so not a lot of outside time.
No, it's currently rainy and cold, so we have to make do with indoors entertainment. I'm not going to lie that I'm currently planted the oldest one in front of the Lion King with some educational viewing. Yes,
quite a biological travesty, but a great story. And indeed, if you look closely, a story of incest. We won't go into that now, and I'm sure that's not the message that your daughter will take from it. Right, moving swiftly along, let us go to our very first clip now. What we have here are some Egyptian geese. That is not the noise they're making. And what's quite interesting is that it might look like those Egyptian geese have come off or live on the ground. They do now. They weren't born on the ground, though. They would have been born in a tree nearby, or hatched in a tree nearby. Oh, yeah, look at that. A chacal is after them. Oh, dear. This is not going anymore.
Oh, what a good effort, though.
Great effort from all concerned. Oh, wow.
Now, that is something I haven't seen on the cameras before. That's actually pretty great. I mean, I know they're known for that sort of behavior. I know around the drier areas, Kgalagadi, the jackals are well known for taking out smaller birds, not necessarily something quite as formidable as a Egyptian goose.
Egyptian goose.
But well, and the fact that he went into the water too, pretty impressive, because hey, you never know what's in there.
Can we go back to that clip? What I want to see there is the jackal going into the water, but it looks like the little goslings are so clever that they go under the water as they're approached by the jackal. In they go. Goslings bobbing around, and as the jackal gets into the water, look at that, they dive under with unbelievable speed. That's really very clever indeed.
And scatter as well. So yeah,
Yeah.
really impressive.
Oh, no, that's brilliant. I mean, he nearly got one, that jackal.
See, now the safari sadist in me is a little sad for our little jackal friend. You see, I'm always backing the predators for some reason. I don't know why.
No, well, that's. I think a lot of people do until they watch something getting
Yes.
killed, which obviously you have many times. But I find that everyone roots for the leopard or the lion until the light is fading from the eyes of whatever happens to have been caught,
Yes.
and then sympathies change quite quickly.
There's no doubt.
Yeah. That particular clip, I mean, I think that those are very young geese. I would have said just out of the nest. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, they, as you say, they're really small. You know, obviously they have those down feathers for quite a while. I don't know the exact time where they actually start to get their adult plumage, but they look really small to me. I mean, we get loads of them around here. I know you guys do too in Joburg, and they're often in the parks. I'd say those guys are just out of the nest, maybe the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. And for those of you who don't know, an Egyptian goose, like I say, is not born on the ground. So I'm just looking it up on my app so that we can check when that down disappears. But they're born in a tree nest, hatched. I mean, can you say born for a bird? I suppose I should know that. They hatch in a tree. And then I'm just going to check exactly when they come out of the tree, because they do, like you may well have seen a number of goose species or duck species, they just tumble out of the nest. You often see it, I don't know what species it is, cliff nesting birds that just fall off the cliffs and kind of roll and bounce into the water. And these things do the same. And blah, 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 trick, distinctive white, male, young, blah, blah. Fledging period, eyes and legs, greenish grey. That's not helping at all. Hang on a second. Reading success. Yeah, doesn't actually say when they come out of the nest. Mass?
No, I actually,
55.
I didn't find it easy to find myself. Actually, I had a little look around before the show as well, but there's not actually much info on it, and I don't know off the top of my head. So for those very wise viewers that we have who are quite keen ornithologists, let us know if you have any thoughts, because it's actually quite interesting. But I mean, look, they do very well in urban environments too. For those of you watching all over the world, I mean, they are very successful, basically from sub-Saharan Africa up the Nile Valley, and then all the way down into the tip of Africa down here in Cape Town. So very successful, and you can see why, if they can evade a jackal in the dark when they're that old.
The other thing is that they apparently don't taste very good to human beings, and I know this from a friend of mine who hunted one once and then tried to eat it. And apparently they're edible as sort of minced breast meat, but otherwise they're disgusting. And in a country like ours, where there's a huge rural population and largely a very poor population, where apparently sort of I'd suppose tasty looking game bird like that would be fair game, literally. They don't taste very good, and so that protects them from being killed off, I suppose, in urban areas. Some nice questions from Jenny Duepri. Is a jackal like a coyote? Very similar, Jenny. I don't know the exact relationship to coyote. It's definitely the same family. I don't think it's the same genus. I can have a look at that. I'll give it a little check now. James Richard, you say jackals are such incredible animals. They are absolutely just the most amazingly resilient. They can live from desert to just shy of true forest. So they're highly adaptable, and you will eat anything that they can overpower, basically, from a termite down to I suppose, an impala lamb, maybe even bigger. Kathy Barton, you say you always feel horrible for the prey, but always glad the predator got a meal. Yeah, I think that's a pretty balanced view on things. The struggle is real, you say. Yes, it is. It is real. James Richard, you say your wood ducks do the same. They leap from tree nests as well. Okay, that's great. Jan Piles, hi everyone. Hello. Hello, Alison from Liverpool. Hello. Greetings from Poland. Hello, Tris Visop. Bob from Kalamazoo. Good day. James and Russell from KZoo. Yes, hello, hello. Kathy, you say, if I remove my hat, will my brain get bigger? No, it won't. It'll just get colder and shrink. Hi, guys. Sarah from the other side of the world, Kazakhstan. I'm on a contract here, but soon I get my month off and will visit SA and see my family and woohoo, get to Kruger for 2 weeks. Well done, Sarah. I'm sure that Kruger feels a very long way from Kazakhstan.
I imagine.
Yes, there's a Kazakhstani tennis player in the semi-finals at Wimbledon, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Totally irrelevant to our show. But there it is. Are you any clearer on the relationship of a coyote to a jackal? I'm just going to look up.
No, off the top of my head, I'm not sure. I would say, pretty close. They certainly show a lot of the same physical traits, size, but again, the detailed things like jaw structure and digits in the limbs. Yeah, I'm not too sure. For us down here, the only really one that stands alone in many ways is, of course, the wild dogs. That they really did evolve a long time ago. I did a chat recently on them, and around 3 million years ago, they evolved from what is the common ancestor of dogs. Whereas dogs, in general, I think the closest relative to dogs would be a gray wolf. That was about 1.5 million years. So I would say coyote's got to fit in there somewhere.
So I found a phylogenetic tree, and you've put some numbers to it, which is great. So the common ancestor, you say, was 5 million years ago.
Yeah, to start, and then the wild dogs was 3, and then or that they broke off, and then I believe the gray wolf was around 1.5 million.
Yeah,
I think it was.
Okay, so we've got the gray wolf, the dog, and the coyote. Obviously, the gray wolf and the dog are almost the same species, just about. And then a little bit more distantly related from them, we've got the coyote. But interestingly, the jackals broke off from the same common ancestor as the wild dog and then split into their own lineage. And then that lineage split into the side-striped and blackback jackal. And all the other lineages eventually ended up as wild dog, African wild dog, dhole, which is the Indian wild dog, the Ethiopian wolf, the golden jackal, the African golden wolf, the coyote, the grey wolf, and then the domestic hound. So actually, the coyote is pretty much as far removed in the canid family as it could be from coyotes, which I didn't realize. I think that's really interesting.
Wow, that is interesting. See, we all learn something new here. So.
But I mean, that said, they're still in the same genus, so they're not distantly related. But that's odd that they should be in the same genus, because a wild dog is not in the same genus, is it?
No.
So I suspect there's going to be quite a lot of changes in those names at some stage. Right, we're going to leave it there before we get ourselves in a huge and very confusing knot.
But that is evolutionary biology in a nutshell. It is always, if you start following those lineages and classification, it often becomes quite blurry. And it's why there's constant conversation around subspecies and species, in all biological circles. So it's a good question, though. And at least now we know.
And we do. I guess it becomes more and more complicated as we get better at assessing DNA. So it used to be done purely on the morphology of an animal. So a taxonomist would dissect something and find out, how different it looked internally and externally, and then make a decision on the taxonomy based on that. But now they do it a lot with DNA. And so you've got a much closer idea of how closely related animals are. All righty, we're already halfway through the show. Let's quickly go to the next clip, which is another bird. Now, this was last week, not this week, and the idea is to just show you how this black eagle chick is growing. So that's last week. And 7 days later,
Goodness.
there it is. I mean, that is quite something. Isn't that amazing? She was.
It is amazing. I feel we did discuss this in the past, and I can't remember what the exact figure was, but I feel like there was something like 300 grams a week.
Wow. Yeah.
That they would put on in this period of their life until they, are old enough and strong enough to start fledging, I guess.
300 grams a week. I mean, that's a
Yeah,
lot.
look, I'm gonna have to check that, but it was a lot. And again, it was on one of our chats in the past about the eagles. But I mean, you can see that if you think about a week.
Yeah, absolutely.
But in these two clips, I could imagine that would be fairly accurate.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
as
I mean,
well.
here we go. Well, while he's feeding there, mass at hatching 100 grams, circa 200 grams at 4 days, and 1 kilogram 20 days. So, yeah, I mean, it's, that's about right. It's about 300 grams a week, which is a
It's
pound
insane.
almost, just under a pound. I mean, it's insane. Yeah.
For an animal that will be flying in the not too distant future to pack on the pounds like that. It's incredible. And I mean, it comes back to the whole discussion that we had about, the what did we call it? The canism, I guess, where they actually kill off their siblings. It was obligate siblicide, I think it was what we discussed.
Right. Yep.
And and you can see why. I mean, there's no way the adults would be able to provide enough food to keep it growing at that sort of a pace.
Yeah.
Considering the male would be doing the most of the hunting.
Yeah. Especially as they're such specialist feeders, and those particular ones feeding a lot on dussies, and as I like to point out, given where they live, possibly the odd escaped domestic moggy.
I would suggest the same.
I must say, I wouldn't like to be a cat-sized pet fly living on the West Rand of Johannesburg with those things hanging around.
No,
I think it's. Am I correct in saying that bird is now 6 weeks old, 7 weeks old?
I'm not sure.
My wife will start shouting from the next room and tell me very shortly. Here we go. Here it comes. May the 24th. It was born. There we go. It is now. Couldn't you work that out for me, Kirsten? I can't work that out. I mean, goodness gracious.
That's about 8 weeks, isn't it? I feel like you're on the money, James.
June. No, it's not 8 weeks, is it? It's 24. There's 2, 22, 29,
right.
5. So it's actually just under 6 weeks. About 6 weeks. Okay. Right. Thank you for that, Kirsten, for testing my mathematical skills. Rolling trouble. So much color now. Yeah, you're right. A lot of color in that black eagle youngster. Lisa White, do they lack talons? Do they lock talons while in flight, like our bald eagles? I didn't know that bald eagles do that, and I don't know the answer. As far as Russell, you correct me if I'm wrong here. What happens is with a bird that perches or grips, there's a ligament here, or would it be a tendon? No, it'd be a ligament. It's a ligament that when pushed, basically, it makes the foot close like that. It's how a bird is able to perch and sleep at the same time. And I think it's obviously supported in a big raptor like that by amazingly powerful muscles down the tarsals. And, so I'm not sure if they fly with their talons clasped. I don't think they fly with them dangling like that. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. Hope you enjoyed
I
my
don't, yeah,
hand
I
demonstration.
think they're I think they're generally more closed than
Yeah.
open, and that they will purposefully open them when landing or grabbing some prey. I think she's referring to it's a mating behavior that bald eagles
Okay.
do, that grabbing of each other in the air, and
Right.
then they almost cascade
Hmm.
out of the sky whilst holding on, and
No.
it's like whoever releases first is the biggest loser, obviously.
Right.
And
The game
well,
of falling chicken.
yes, but again, I've never seen that with our eagles, James. I
Hmm.
don't know if you have, but I've never
No, I haven't.
seen them. I've certainly seen them fighting, but not in that acrobatic way
Yeah.
um, that the bald eagles show. So
Yeah.
it's possible, but I haven't seen that before.
Yeah. Okay. Lovely question. I'm just going to go back to the question before from Lisa White, or the sighting before. She says, we had a coyote and she thought she was just one of the dogs. So that's amazing. Lisa, I'd love to hear more details of that. I'm always fascinated by wild animals that are raised in captivity or raised domestically, because I'm always interested in how much domestic instinct they show. Because obviously dogs and cats took quite a long time to domesticate, we think. And normally you hear stories of people finding a jackal pup and raising it, and the jackals don't domesticate, they don't tame. They're fine as pups, but as soon as they hit puberty, they become wild, and they don't want to be around people and around other animals. So I think that's really interesting. Good. Thank you for that, Lisa. I think we've discussed the jackals, yeah, probably sufficiently now. Um, and so I think we should probably move on to our next clip. Carry on.
Okay.
Hmm.
Wow.
I think initially what you're seeing may have been slightly alarming. You may have thought that rather imbecilic young elephant was drowning, but in actual fact, it's just behaving like a clown.
Yes, having the time of his or her life.
Yeah.
And it's what I suspect is a sibling or cousin of
Yeah.
some kind looking on in disgust.
Thinking what a moron.
Yeah, exactly right.
And ostrich thinking the same.
It's always such a fascinating thing to watch of how, especially young elephants, but
Yeah.
often all the elephants when they arrive at water, how excited they get and what fun they seem to have frolicking in the mud or in the water itself if that's deep enough for them. But if you didn't know that, I would say, as you say, James, at the beginning,
Yeah.
it does look quite distressing, like he's stuck, perhaps. You know?
And runs off, exits stage left with tail at 90 degrees. I always love that. And off they go. Let's just watch it again because I think it's worth watching again.
I don't think so too.
And quite interesting there that the sibling on the left has got no tusks.
Yeah, compared to that nice
And
big
if I'm,
boy in the
yeah,
background.
yeah. Did these elephants of Madikwe, because this is a tower in Madikwe, everyone, didn't they come from Addo?
That's what I believe. Yeah, that's what the
Yeah,
information that we were told.
yeah.
I don't know if they're all still from there or if they had brought in from other areas, but
Yeah.
that's what I remember.
Okay. So the Addo cows, a lot of the Addo cows are tuskless, and that's quite interesting. So perhaps those genetics will exist in that population at Madikwe. And you can see that the baby has attracted the attentions of not just the tuskless minder, but a number of two other bulls who are sort of trying to get in on the act, but not really feeling it at the moment.
Again, I mean, they're pretty young, so you would suggest they're probably from the same herd, unless there are a few herds here together. Um, as you say, these two just sort of testing out their strength, but their their young sibling, yeah, having a great old time at the waterhole.
Yeah. I think it's just such fun watching elephants like that, and um, it's always on safari. It's such a win. It's never a boring sighting when you're with elephants. They're always doing something. They're completely unlike lions, and as I'm sure you know and continually experience, people come on safari and they want to see lions. They want to see predators. And the first lion sighting you take them to is universally disappointing because it's on afternoon
Yes,
drive because they've just come in during the
just
middle of the
arrived.
day. Yeah, go off in the heat of the summer. You find a pride of lions, and they are sleeping in the shade in various incredibly ungraceful and undignified positions. And if they're anywhere near a kill, their piles of scat are not too far distant. And it's the most
Yes.
unimpressive thing in the world. Whereas elephants, the first time you see them, it doesn't matter where you see them, it's always just a magnificent kind of awe-inspiring experience.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The amount of times you arrive at a lion sighting to be greeted by a couple of golden
Yeah.
patches in some
Oh,
grass, and the occasional flapping ear or tail,
yeah.
um, is quite
Mm.
astounding. But like you say, I just came back from Chobe again, and it's
Yeah.
the elephant numbers are just unbelievable. But one of the
Mm.
great behaviors you see there so often is elephants truly swimming. They cross that river back and
Yeah.
forth
Yeah.
almost on a daily basis. Not almost, they absolutely do. And when they do it, they
Mm.
tend to do it as a herd, or if it's just a group of males, they all go together, waiting for one to be brave enough. And as they go in, it's a pretty deep river. Most places,
Yeah.
the deepest point over the depth of what an elephant can stand in, so
Mm.
around 5-6 meters. And I just find it hilarious that we all know that they're really good swimmers, but when you see them go, this huge animal, and then all that sticks out is a
Mm.
trunk that occasionally pops
Yeah.
up from time to time as they take a breath. Yeah, just as you say, you can watch it for hours, and
Yeah.
always brings a smile and brings out the
Yeah.
cameras on everybody, to get a
Yeah.
get a picture of an elephant trunk
Yeah.
sticking out of the water. It's amazing.
I think the key you've mentioned there is that you can watch them for hours. They're like baboons. You can sit and watch them forever and they won't get boring. Whereas a cat can get pretty boring after, well, 2 minutes in the case of some lions. But,
Yes.
they're just always doing something. Judy H., hello. Nice to hear from you. You say poor ostriches, just extras in the movie. They were just extras, but they were very important extras. They really did provide a nice little backdrop as they walked past there. But yes, they didn't play a major role, probably not going to be winning any Academy Awards. Kathy Barton, elephants are so fun, so intriguing, so beautiful to watch. Oh, and baby tantrums are the best. Well, I think you've just described it exactly what Russell and I took 3 minutes to do. You've done in one sentence. Well done. Jenny Dupree, what's the oldest an elephant gets? Is it up to 20 something? No, up to 65 in some areas, probably closer to 60 in most, if elephants are lucky, but up to 65. And then Jed Loveday, a very interesting question. What is the most invasive animal in South Africa? Russell, do you know of any invasive animals in South Africa?
Hmm.
I'm trying to think of
Got
invasive
to be a
animals.
bird. Maybe the Indian miners.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Indian miners would be a good one. I'm trying to think of an invertebrate that. Well, there's the shot borer beetle, which
Oh
lives
my
up here in
goodness, yeah.
Johannesburg. Have you got them there?
Uh, there are signs of them. Most people are
Yeah.
terrified of them down in the Cape as well.
Okay.
But yes, I think that would be right up there. If you go invertebrate,
Mm.
yeah, that one's pretty bad. A few
Yeah.
fish species as well. Bass,
Yes. Yeah.
largemouth bass is
Yeah.
everywhere, and they certainly don't belong here.
Mm.
Trout as
Then
well.
trout. Yeah.
and they cause havoc in our freshwater systems. So if you are a fisherman out there, go catch more, as many as you can, in South Africa, certainly.
Very good eating. Yeah.
Yeah, they are super fun to catch. But yeah, those would be the ones off the top of my head of the most invasive. Yeah, I think so.
I have a horrible feeling we're missing a really obvious one, but I think that's a pretty good list of invasive
Squirrel,
animals.
gray
Squirrel in
squirrel,
Cape
perhaps.
Town.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes. I mean, they're everywhere.
Yeah. We don't have them up here. It's too cold, I think. Or they can't get across the Karoo, perhaps. For those of you who don't know, the geckos. Yes. That's probably a good one. Yeah.
Yeah,
nasty
a lot
geckos.
is sadly a lot. I would say for many conservationists, one of the greatest threats to biodiversity, invasive species. So yeah, it's a challenge.
Cool. For those of you who don't know, shot borer beetle is a little beetle that goes into mainly oak trees. And where do they come from? Asia.
Don't know. I'm not sure. It would be a guess.
Yeah, I think it's in Asia, and they seem to have come across on some kind of grain import, and they're killing all the trees, or a lot of the trees, the big trees around Johannesburg, and now possibly in Cape Town. And obviously, that's a bit of a train smash. All right, everyone, that's going to be it from us. We've now had the power utility in Johannesburg turn off the power, so I'm about to run out of power and disappear. Russell's going to go and look after his children. We'll see you at the same time, same place next week. Thank you very much for joining us. And yes, I guess that's all I have to say. Goodbye.
See you, everybody.